The skyrocketing cost of living.
I was skipping meals because I was struggling to afford my food and my rent.
2 million Canadians had to use the food bank in 1 month alone.
No wonder crime is rocketing after 8 years of Justin Trudeau.
Is the Canadian dream turning into a nightmare? From soaring housing costs to dwindling job opportunities, why is living in Canada worsening yearly? Buckle up as we dive into the surprising truths and stark realities facing Canadians today. Canada has long been celebrated as one of the best places to live on Earth, a country known for its stunning natural beauty, friendly people, and opportunities for all. But behind the Instagram-worthy images of snow-capped mountains and multicultural festivals, there's another reality, a reality that many Canadians and newcomers are waking up to every day. Year after year, cracks are forming in what was once considered an almost perfect country. If you've ever wondered why more people are starting to question whether Canada is truly the paradise it's marketed to be, let's break it down. Let's start with the housing crisis. What was once a nation of affordable homes and family-friendly neighborhoods has now become a battleground for renters and buyers alike. The average price of a home in Toronto or Vancouver is astronomical, often exceeding $1 million. And no, that doesn't get you a mansion, it gets you a cramped condo or an aging home in need of repairs. For renters, the picture isn't much better. Vacancy rates are at historic lows and landlords are raising prices at an alarming rate. A single-bedroom apartment in a major city can easily cost more than $2,000 a month. It's not just expensive, it's unsustainable. Young people, the very backbone of Canada's future, are finding it nearly impossible to live independently. Many are stuck in shared accommodations or forced to live with their parents well into their 30s. Immigrants who arrive with dreams of owning a home soon realize that they've stepped into a housing market that punishes ambition and rewards those with generational wealth. And for the average Canadian, saving for a down payment feels like trying to fill a swimming pool with a teaspoon. Now, let's talk about jobs. Canada's job market looks shiny on the surface, with low unemployment numbers often flaunted in headlines. But dig a little deeper and the picture isn't so pretty. Many jobs are precarious, part-time, contract-based, or gig work that offers no benefits or stability. For immigrants, the situation is often worse. You might arrive with advanced degrees and years of experience, only to find that Canadian employers don't recognize your qualifications. The result? Doctors driving cabs, engineers working as cashiers, and endless frustration as people are unable to work in their chosen fields. Even those who manage to secure full-time jobs are feeling the strain. Wages have not kept up with the rising cost of living. A paycheck that might have been sufficient a decade ago now barely covers rent, groceries, and transportation. The dream of climbing the economic ladder is quickly being replaced by the grim reality of living paycheck to paycheck. Healthcare is another area where Canada is falling short. Yes, it's universal and yes, it's free, but what good is free healthcare when you can't access it in a timely manner? Wait times for specialists, diagnostic tests, and even surgeries are painfully long. For some, these delays are not just inconvenient, they're life-threatening. Emergency rooms are overcrowded, family doctors are in short supply, and mental health services are woefully underfunded. Picture this, you're feeling unwell and need to see a doctor. The soonest appointment you can get is 6 weeks away. By the time you're finally seen, your condition has worsened, and you're now facing an uphill battle to recover. This isn't a rare scenario, it's the everyday reality for many Canadians. The cost of living is another growing concern. Inflation has hit nearly every sector, from groceries to gas to utilities. A simple trip to the supermarket feels like a financial gut punch. Essentials like milk, bread, and fresh produce are steadily becoming luxury items for some families. Add in the rising cost of transportation and childcare, and it's no wonder that financial anxiety is becoming a national epidemic. Then there's the weather, a point of pride for some and a source of misery for others. Canadian winters are not for the faint of heart. The cold is brutal, the snow relentless, and the sheer length of the season can wear down even the most resilient individuals. For newcomers, adapting to the harsh climate is a rude awakening. It's not just about buying a good winter coat, it's about enduring months of darkness, icy roads, and the mental toll that comes with limited sunlight. Urban sprawl is another issue that's making life in Canada worse every year. As cities expand, infrastructure struggles to keep up. Public transit systems are underfunded and overcrowded, making daily commutes a frustrating ordeal. Traffic congestion in cities like Toronto and Montreal has reached absurd levels, with drivers spending hours stuck in gridlock every week. and as cities grow outward, the environmental impact is becoming impossible to ignore. Green spaces are being replaced by concrete, and wildlife habitats are disappearing at an alarming rate. Immigration policies, once a source of pride for Canada, are now under scrutiny. The country welcomes hundreds of thousands of newcomers every year, but the support systems to help them integrate are falling short. Housing shortages, limited job opportunities, and inadequate language training leave many immigrants feeling abandoned after their arrival. The result? A growing divide between the promise of Canada and the reality on the ground. Climate change is another looming threat. Canada's vast natural beauty is under siege from wildfires, flooding, and extreme weather events. These disasters are not only devastating for the environment, but also for the people who live in affected areas. Entire communities have been displaced, and the financial toll of rebuilding is staggering. For a country that prides itself on its connection to nature, this disconnect is heartbreaking. The strain isn't just physical, it's mental. Financial pressures, job insecurities, and the lack of affordable healthcare are taking a toll on Canadians' mental health. Anxiety and depression are on the rise, yet access to mental health services remains limited. The stigma around seeking help only adds to the problem, leaving many to suffer in silence. Education, often touted as one of Canada's strengths, is becoming a double-edged sword. While Canadian universities are world-renowned, the cost of tuition is climbing. Students graduate with crushing debt only to enter a job market that doesn't always reward their investment. The burden of student loans, combined with the rising cost of living, is leaving many young Canadians questioning whether higher education is even worth it. Politics is another area where frustration is mounting. Canadians pride themselves on inclusivity and democracy, but many feel that their government is falling short. Whether it's addressing the housing crisis, tackling climate change, or reforming healthcare, the pace of progress is painfully slow. The disconnect between elected officials and the everyday struggles of Canadians is fueling a sense of disillusionment. Moreover, the political landscape is becoming increasingly polarized, making it difficult to achieve consensus on critical issues. Many Canadians feel their voices are not being heard and their concerns are not being addressed. This growing frustration is leading to a decline in trust in government institutions and a sense of hopelessness about the future. The gap between political promises and real-world action is widening, leaving many to wonder if their leaders are truly committed to making meaningful change. Perhaps the most heartbreaking aspect of all this is the sense of unmet expectations. For decades, Canada has been marketed as a utopia, a place where hard work is rewarded and everyone has a fair shot at success. But for many, that dream is slipping further and further out of reach. The reality of living in Canada today often feels like a far cry from the idyllic image that drew people here in the first place. The Canada of today is a country at a crossroads. Its natural beauty and multicultural identity remain sources of pride, but the cracks in its foundation are impossible to ignore. Rising costs, strained infrastructure, and the disconnect between expectations and reality are leaving many Canadians feeling disillusioned. The question is, can Canada rise to the challenge? Will it address these issues head-on and reclaim its place as one of the best places to live? Or will it continue down this path of growing inequality and unmet promises? For now, one thing is clear, the conversation is far from over, so there you have it. If you enjoyed watching our video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Share your thoughts in the comments below. What's your experience living in Canada?